What's good, family, and welcome to Enjoy the Journey. I am your host, Devontae Lamont, and today I have with me the Cynthia D. Gunner, who is one of the greatest people I've ever met. She is a fun time. She's worked in education, but most of all, she is here to talk with us about the journey. How are you?
I'm good, Mr. Lamont. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, first off, this is exciting for me because you know I love you.
Yes.
I love you so much. And so to be able to sit and talk with you is an honor. So thank you for being here.
And thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. So where are you from actually? Were you born and raised here in Atlanta?
I was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas.
Really?
Yes, and came to Atlanta to go to college at Spellman in 1989, and I've been here ever since.
Oh my God. So
Yes.
what was the experience like at Spellman? Like, what was that experience like for you?
Just magical. You know, if you think about coming from a place like Beaumont, Texas, it's about an hour away from Houston. Very small. We had 2 high schools, 1 mall.
Wow.
Went to school, very diverse. I was the only African-American student in most of my classes. It was maybe 4 or 5 black students in my graduating class.
Wow.
So to come to Spellman and HBCU and be surrounded with all that greatness and excellence, it was an amazing experience. It was something that changed my life.
I love that. So when you went to Spellman, what was your course of study at Spellman?
Sociology.
Nice.
Now, I'm going to be honest, I just made that up because I had no idea at 18. I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Wow. So how did you, I love that you said that because a lot of people are in that space, especially when you come to Atlanta, you're trying to find your way. How did you learn or know what it is eventually that you wanted to do?
I wish I had like this story of, you know, people say I grow up and, oh, I've always wanted to be a teacher or I always wanted to be a doctor. But I just want to say I went through Spellman, still just kind of unsure. And I got to almost graduation. And all my friends were talking about going to business school and medical school and nursing school, and they all seemed so sure. And I felt so down, depressed, and I called my mother at the time, who still lived in Beaumont, crying, saying that I felt like a loser. And of course you have to think this is in the mind of someone 20, 21, right?
Yeah.
And I just said, everybody seems so sure of what they want to do, and I don't know. And I just feel like I'm like less than. And my mother said to me, what is it that you want most in this world? And I said, I want to be a mother. And she said, well, choose a career that will be most aligned with you being the best mother that you can be. And my mother was a teacher.
Wow.
And I remember her being home with me in the summers, being on the weekends. And I said, so I graduated and went back to school to get my teacher certification and my master's. And I fell in love with it, and it's become my passion. But it wasn't something that I just knew I wanted to do. All I knew was be a teacher. I could eventually be a mom, right? And my schedule and their schedule would be aligned.
Wow.
And it just came to me, and I have been loving it. And 30-something years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
30 years is a long time to
Yes.
survive in education.
Say it for the people.
I've always wondered this, and I love talking to veterans in the game. Like, over the last 30 years in the teaching profession, what can you say has been one of the biggest shifts that you've seen from that time to now?
Technology.
Wow.
I just think I don't even think we really grasp the long-term effects of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when I started, we had chalkboards, right? We had overhead projectors. You know, those little things were going around.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a smart board was.
Right.
You know, we had like transparencies that we would, do. And now the students, their attention span, everything is quick. Now you got AI, right? Everything is, they want it quick. There's no, students don't have to rely on you for information, right? We're not imparting a whole lot that's not in their fingertips.
Yeah.
And they don't really, they're in a space where their careers and professions and stuff that's not quote unquote, you have to go to school all this time. So to keep their attention, to keep the purpose of why go to school, you know, and trying to merge that, you have to think, because most people who are teaching and all that are from a different generation.
Absolutely.
So we are teaching a generation of students where we don't even know their experience. And that's very different, because when I was in school, the teachers that taught me, our experience and their experience, although they were older, it was kind of the same.
Absolutely.
But we're now talking to a whole generation where I always say they were born with an iPad in their hand. I don't know anything about that experience.
Wow.
Right? And so even teachers who were 35, they still don't know that experience of somebody that's 9 right now. And so that has changed education. And don't even talk about cell phones.
Oh, Jesus, my God.
Right? It has changed everything.
So with AI specifically, how do you think that AI is going to impact the future of education? Because on one end, I think we have people who celebrate how quickly we're able to obtain the knowledge, but the sustainability, how do you think AI is going to affect the future of education?
I really think the whole educational system that we know needs to be dismantled.
Absolutely.
And I know that is controversial, but we're still like trying to take this square peg and put it in a round hole, right? And so we're talking to students and talking about the Declaration of Independence and Shakespeare and all those things where it's right there at their hand.
Yeah.
Like, right? And so I think if we can say, what can AI give us, and then teach children to think critically about what AI is giving us, as opposed to write your own paper.
Yeah.
Why would I do that when AI can write my paper?
Yeah.
The key is, can I look at the paper that AI gave me and critically analyze, are those my thoughts? How can I make it better, right? How do I check to make sure? Because if AI is getting all this information from Google and the internet, how do I think critically to figure out, does all this make sense?
Yeah.
That's where we need to go.
Yeah.
But I think education is still back. You know,
it's so funny. We just had the Thanksgiving holiday, and I was sitting talking with a group of friends, and one of my friends had a theory that within the next 10 years, the future of education is going to look totally different from now, even if we have school standing.
Oh, I agree.
Because I believe that the education system has built a model that's not sustainable, and ultimately, with where the world is going, it's scary to think about. It's really scary to think about the future and even the teacher shortage and things like that. Like, where is this headed?
And it's scary to me because I feel like whenever something changes, particularly in this country, those who look like us are the last to get it. So when we start talking about education moving in the next 10 years and all that, I always think our black and brown children, the poorest of us, right, who can't pay for high private schools that can just change everything they want, right?
Yeah.
Public school is a whole entity. It's systemic. And so when you start talking about the government and the state and people making choices, who will be the last to benefit from whatever change education comes? And that's what really, really concerns me.
Yeah. We got to keep fighting, y'all. We got to keep fighting. But you want to become a mother. So how many children do you have?
I have 3 adult children.
3?
Yes.
I did not know it was 3.
I have 3. And I'm going to tell you something else. I've been married since I was in college.
Really?
Yes. I got married at 21. Yes, before I graduated. And after that, we are still married, 33 years. We are a success story. Everyone thought I was crazy.
Wow.
My oldest son is 30, and my youngest daughter is 23.
Did you get married in 1992?
I did.
The only reason I know that is because I was born in 1992. You said 33 years, and I'm 33 years old.
That's right. I did.
But okay, let's talk about that. I am 33 years old.
Yes.
You've been married for 33 years.
Yes.
That is my entire life.
Yes.
One thing that we don't see in this day and age is marriages that last.
Yes.
With someone with 33 years of experience, what could you talk about, or what advice could you give to maybe younger couples who are trying to just figure this thing out? Like, what is the secret to 33 years?
I would say, I will I will say what I tell young people all the time, even before you get into a relationship. My mother always told me, to thine own self be true. And that was so important because I think that if you are self-aware, what that does is you know what you want. If you are unapologetically who you are, if you own your own crap, own your crazy, right? Get in some therapy.
Ooh, come on.
Right?
You talking good
right.
now.
Get in some therapy, know what you want. And then I tell them to get a sheet of paper. And I say on one side, you write what you must have. On the other side is what you would like to have. Now, the must-haves are non-negotiable. That's a very short list, right? But in order to get there, you got to know yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you meet someone, no matter how much you love them, no matter how fine you think they are,
Come on.
if they don't meet that must-have list,
Yeah.
you got to keep going. And the mistake, I think, is people start negotiating on that must-have, right? Now, your like-to-haves can be you want them to be 6'4", and you want them to have a six-figure job. You know, it's all, those kind of things, all the things. Those must-haves, though.
That's must-have.
You know, if you have a must-have, one of your must-haves is he must be a God-fearing man. You cannot meet somebody who you think you love, and he's saying maybe, I don't believe, or maybe whatever your thing is. You have to stand on that. And I believe you attract people who see you when you are unapologetic and unrelenting about what you want. Wow. And I think that in 33 years, I still smile when I see my husband, and we still spend time together. But I think it was, even at that young age, we knew who we were, right? And I always say it's like a missing puzzle piece. Because if you know yourself well enough, you know where your gaps are, and then you can find somebody to fill that gap.
Wow.
Right? And that's the hard part. But also, I've learned in these years that you can't depend on somebody else for your own happiness and completion. And I'm not going to lie, at 21 and 22, I wasn't there, right? Yeah. It was a long time. I would look to my husband to make my birthday special, or to make me feel good about the outfits I have on, or it took me a while to come to, that's too much responsibility on someone else.
Wow.
The responsibility is for me to love myself. How do I want my birthday to be?
Yeah.
Right? Do I think I look cute in these clothes?
Come on.
Then it won't. Then when he says you look nice, that's just icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake.
Right? As opposed to your whole day being ruined because you went and got a new hairstyle and your significant other didn't comment. Right?
Yeah.
Now I'm sad, and why didn't he notice, and why didn't all that stuff? It took me a while to come to, and I believe we are even better now because I'm like walking in, I'm great, and so he thinks I'm great, right? But I don't look for that confirmation, and I don't put that responsibility on him anymore. So I try to tell people that too.
That is huge, and the reason I say that that is huge because a lot of people just in, especially coupled relationships, I think the idea can be that, this person is the one that's going to make me feel good. This person should make me feel this way. But from what I'm hearing from you, that we have to know ourselves first. And you just invited to the party. Come on, join, because I'm already feeling good already.
That part.
This is so good. And I'm talking as a single at this point. What is the secret to owning your own confidence and to be able to stay and know who you are to the point where you don't have to wait for that person? And I say that because I think a lot of times when you're looking for a relationship, you're looking for validation.
Yes.
So how do you balance that with, okay, I don't need you for validation, but I still need that intimacy or that maybe words of affirmation piece to it?
Because that's still important, the validation. You want the person who you're in a relationship with to see you and value you. We all like that. But it's the core of who you are. Like you have to have, it's to thine own self be true. Like you have to love yourself enough to know that there's a boundary that I'm not going to cross. If this person doesn't make me feel good, if this person is not building me up, I deserve better than that.
Yeah.
Right? And people would say, if you and your husband broke up, you would just come apart. I said I would. I would be devastated. Y'all would have to come wipe my nose and rub my head. But I also know at the end of the day, I would be okay. And that matters. right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not taking away the trauma, I'm not taking away being devastated, but I have this thing in here that I'm gonna be all right.
I'm gonna be all right.
Right? And I thank my mother every day, who is 83, because she taught me
Mm-hmm.
you would be okay.
Yeah.
Right? She walked away from my
Yeah.
daddy when I was 3 years old,
Come
and
on.
that was her love of her life, because
Wow.
she deserved better. And she raised me. I always thought, if my mama can do that for me,
Ooh.
then doggone it, nobody will make me not be who I am.
That is
Right?
powerful.
And so now I really try to talk to people and mentor people, because everybody doesn't have that experience.
Yeah.
Everybody, that's a place of privilege.
Yeah.
To your whole life, somebody has been telling you you're worthy.
Yeah.
Somebody has been telling you you can do anything. That's a space of privilege, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what happens when you are not raised in that space? When
Yeah.
people are not pouring into you like that? When you get these messages that you're not good enough, right?
Yeah.
That means you got to do the work. That's where
Do
the
the
therapy comes in,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. The
You-
work.
you-
We can't
it-
bypass the work.
You cannot bypass, and I have made my adult children promise that before they get married, you are to get an individual counseling, and then you get into couples therapy.
Come on.
And I have made them promise, because I know what happens when you're broken. Your brokenness doesn't disappear when you get in a relationship.
Wow.
Nor does it disappear when you have children.
Woo.
Right?
Yes.
So 2 broken people together
Yeah.
don't make unbroken children.
Can we talk about that? Because marriage is one thing, but now to add the layer of children onto it is a whole nother thing. So with you being married, what has, between you and your husband, what has having children taught you two as a couple?
My 2 first children were our sons. They're my sons.
Yeah.
And it was just me and my mom, right? And so I didn't really have a frame of reference about what it meant to like raise Black boys in America, right? And I wish I could say that it was all smooth sailing, but when my boys got to be about middle school, high school, it was drama in my house all the time,
Yeah.
because my husband wanted to hold them accountable and be tough, but those were my babies.
Yeah.
And he had to tell me, you need to step back and let me raise these boys, right? And so I try to tell all my friends with these little boys, I said, it's going to come a time where you're going to have to step back. And if you're blessed enough to have a father figure or a father in the home, you're going to have to let him do that. And being in education, we see what happens with boys with no discipline.
Absolutely.
And now I call my husband sometime from work and I say, thank you.
Wow.
I said, because I see it, right? I don't understand it as a woman, right? I just think, why can't we just talk about it and he's going to do better?
Yeah.
And he used to say that that's not going to happen.
Right.
Right? And I
Yeah.
see these boys at school now and I think, so I think also, but I think when you try to find somebody you want to spend your life with and have children with, those are the conversations you have to have. It's not just about, you smell good.
Yeah.
What's your viewpoint in raising children?
Yeah.
Right? How do you think discipline looks like? What do you think should be the most important thing when you raise children? Because people divorce with that.
Yeah, I have a question about that, because I personally have never thought about that in a relationship. So 2 parents with 2 different parenting styles, I never thought that could come up. So when you become married, I never realized that you have a view, your husband has a view, and now how do you merge that, and then how can that affect the relationship?
People come apart. People break up. People get resentful because you believe what you believe, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have to trust your partner,
Yeah.
right? Even though I may not understand it, right? At the end of the day, even though it was many days I cried because I didn't want my boys to be getting in trouble, right? But at the end of the day, I did trust the man who I knew my husband was, and I knew he loved them, right?
Yeah.
And I remember my son was in high school, and he was saying, Dad, you just don't like me. You just like that. And I remember I was upstairs, and I heard my husband say, if you don't talk to me, if the next time you see me, I'm in a casket with my eyes and my mouth stitched up, but you're a good man, I've done my job.
Ooh,
He said, because I'm not here to be your friend.
Yeah.
I'm here to make sure that you are a good man and that you can contribute to society. And I remember, and he stands on that to this day, and I had such a respect. I thought that was so harsh to tell somebody 16.
Yeah.
He said, but I needed my son to know that I wasn't interested in his teenage likes and making him feel good, right? He said my calling was so much bigger than that. And I think that when people are married, you have to trust. Don't marry somebody you don't trust enough to help you raise children. Because if you
Yeah.
got to question everything and go behind their back, then something was wrong before the children got here.
Ooh, come on. That was good now. That was good. So you have the two boys, but is there a difference? Because you have a girl too, right?
Yes, my last
What's
child.
the difference between raising boys and girls? Like, because raising boys, I know what being a boy myself, I know what that's
Baby.
like. But is there a difference from raising the boys to how you raise your daughter?
Yes, I think that even my daughter will say that I coddle the boys. Right now, in my mind, I'm tough on them.
Yeah.
Right, but from her perspective, I have like this soft spot.
Wow.
Right, but also my daughter was so much more independent and so mature and taking care of her business. So my son say she doesn't get in trouble. You didn't treat her like you treat her, but I didn't really have to either. So from my perspective, it was a breeze raising her.
Yeah.
Right? And they were always in trouble and not doing
Right.
their lesson and all of that. Now, from her perspective, she thought that I held her to another standard.
Wow.
You know, and I think, I don't know, it's because, I don't know what it is. I think it's
Yeah.
because I think our boys need so much more.
I
Right?
agree.
And
Yeah.
if I could do it over, I probably would not have been as tough on her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, you know,
so,
you just...
so you even have lessons from raising children
Oh,
for
my-
yourself.
oh my goodness! I just, if I knew then, and that's why I try to tell my adult children: the older you get, if you have a parent that is estranged, if you have you don't like how your parents raised you, you can't forgive them. I tell people all the time, you got to give your parents grace.
Yeah.
Because broken people don't get unbroken when they have children. All your issues, all your baggage from childhood, all the stuff you learned, plus your DNA and all of that comes in, that parents do the best they can.
Yeah.
And when they realize that they can do better, usually your childhood is over.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
I was 24 when I had my son, right? I didn't have my father in my life. My husband didn't have his father. We made it up.
Yeah.
Right? Neither one of us were in a home where a mother and father, right? And our mothers now say, how did you all figure that out? We created what we thought was a family, right? But that doesn't take away all your stuff that you come in. Ooh. And now that I'm 50-something, I've forgiven my father, right? Like, and I tell people, grace, because being a mother or a father doesn't stop you from having all your crap. You know what I mean? And as a child, you just be thinking, it's on you. It's you.
It's you.
Then you grow up and you realize, golly, my mother's doing the best she can, or my dad was,
And you know what? On the healing journey, I'm so glad you said that, because I think that's so important, because we live in a society where it's easy for children and parents to be estranged.
Yes.
And, mom's not talking to son and daughter's not talking to mom.
Yes.
And I've been in that place in my maturity. As I'm growing, I'm learning how to forgive and to extend grace. I'm realizing that my parents were young when they married.
Yes.
They were not perfect. And so when I dealt with my stuff, I wanted to play the blame game as the kid.
Yes.
What I didn't get, I didn't.
Yes.
But when I learned to forgive my mother, forgive my father, and knowing that they were doing the best they could, and I can't hold my parents responsible for my unhappiness. And that's where I had to take ownership, regardless of whatever my past was. This is why I think us as human beings need to be very intentional with that forgiveness piece. Because what I've learned in unforgiveness is that it holds you back.
You think that you are making the other person pay.
Yeah.
But really, that's not what's happening. Right? And you stay in that place. And I always say, it's not my responsibility to make you pay.
Yep.
Right? But I stayed in that place too.
Yeah.
Why wasn't my father there? Why wasn't he there? You just stay angry and you stay in this place. You block your blessings. And I always say, the door that you close to try to protect yourself from people is the same door that has to be open to get your blessings. Right? The door swings both ways.
Yeah, that's
right?
good.
So you close it and say, I'm not going to get hurt, and I'm not going to talk to my mother, and I'm not going to talk to my father. But what you're doing is now you're just a shell of a person, because that same door is the door where the people will bring you to the next level. The same person that will enrich your life, the same person that's going to tell you about yourself, got to come through that same door.
Yep.
right? And the only way the door swings is through grace and forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know?
Ooh. That one did it for me. Dr. Gunner, that one did it for me. So let's get to you. So you're doing some great things now. And I know one of the things that you're doing now is on TikTok.
Yes.
And you are making a big impact with the videos and the encouragement that you've been posting. So what is next for you on your creative side with the conversations you've been having? Like, what does that look like for you?
You know, when you're who you are, and I think you and I are kindred spirits when it comes to our spirit, right? And people always like, you're just so unapologetically you.
Yeah.
And so when I started Dare to Disrupt, people would just say, you just disrupt what people expect of you as an educator. You disrupt the notion of what a principal would look like. You disrupt what a plus size 50-year-old woman can look like.
You look good too.
Right? Like, you disrupt it. I don't let it stop me, right? And I'm not gonna let fear. I do it anyway. Right? And who are you to tell me?
Come
so
on.
I thought I can share this to the world because there are a lot of people who shrink, who try to stay quiet, who don't want to walk in a room with a yellow shirt on, I don't put this on. And I just want to say this to you. I had long hair for years and years and years. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying, I just want to cut my hair off. This had to be like 15 years ago.
Wow.
And I said, but I just think I'm too fat. I said, it's gonna, I said, we were at Harold's Chicken and Waffle, and I said,
come on.
I can't. I said, I cannot. I'm too fat. It's gonna make me fatter. And you know what my friend told me? That's why you gotta have good friends.
Wow.
She said, you think people can't see you fat because of that hair?
I'm sorry.
And then she said, the hair's not the problem.
Come on.
I cut my hair the next day. And I have never regretted it. And I thank her every day. Because first of all, I was hiding.
Yeah.
Right? And second is, you are who you are.
Yeah.
You want to wear a sleeveless shirt. You think people can't see your big arm?
Baby.
Put it out.
Put it out,
right?
baby.
I put my two-piece bathing suit on. I jump across a cliff. I disrupt what you expect me to be. Right? And so I try to give leadership tips because I've been doing this thing for 30 years. But I live loud. Right? And I embrace life. And I always say, go hard or go home. Right? Ooh, and when it's over, it's over. If you ever seen somebody who's dead in a casket, when you see that, you know what you think? When it's over, ain't no do-overs. Right? And I'm very intentional on trying to live my life with that concept.
Yeah.
Right? Because when it's over,
it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
So I dare to disrupt. Everything you think you know, have the courage to do it anyway.
Ooh, this is so strong. Oh my God. Dr. Gunner, I have enjoyed this. We've got our last minute coming up.
Oh my God.
Right. And I'm just like, I just want to keep going. This is so good. But with Dare to Disrupt, and this is my last point, I appreciate you for being who you are, being authentic. That's what drew me to you.
Yes.
Just seeing your aura. It was always light. Every time I encounter you, I encounter peace. I encounter joy. And so one thing that I love that at this stage in your life that you are deciding to put Dare to Disrupt on a platform and let people know that it's not too late to live your life. So if for this last moment, if you could look at that camera and give one piece of advice to someone who's maybe trying to find their way, who's maybe trying to accept who they are, what would you say to them?
Get out your own way. Be unrelenting in the joy you're seeking. Live loud. Lead loud. Laugh loud. Own the room. Be unapologetically yourself. And dare to be a disruptor. Disrupt what people think they know about you. Disrupt what they think 40 looks like, 30 looks like. Disrupt what 20 looks like. Plus size, little, black, white. Disrupt it. Do it anyway and live, because when it's over, it's over.
Woo! Dare to disrupt. Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming on.
Much. This was so
Oh
wonderful.
my God. We got to do this again.
Absolutely.
We got to do it again. Y'all, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Enjoy the Journey. Until next time, peace out.